Oh, so you want me to tell you a story? Okay. Let me think. Oh yeah, I've got a good one. So, so back like a couple years ago, not that long ago, just like a few years ago, but literally there was this one time where my dog, his name like Gerald, I took Gerald for a walk, but decided to go on a different route. But like I live in this neighborhood and it's like all trees, so like we decided to just go on a hike because there was a hiking trail nearby. So me and Gerald were walking down the hiking trail, and it's like beautiful, like all these trees, and hear all the birds chirping and the squirrels running around. The squirrel, where? And basically, uh, excuse that. So we were walking down the trail, and there was a fence. So we walk up to the fence. It's just like we don't expect the fence to be there because we're in the forest. And so I look at the fence, and it has this piece of paper like laminated so it doesn't like get wet. So I look to the paper. Go to the paper, and I look at it. It says turn around or jump over this fence, and that's all it said. But I flipped over the paper because I was like, what? I flipped over the paper, and on the other side it said jump over the fence for 5,000 Robux. Of course, I had to get me some free Robux, so I jumped over the fence. So and then there was this hatch on the ground on the other side of the fence where I was at, and I was like, I wonder what this could mean. So I opened the hatch, and there was a ladder, and it was pretty bright. I crawled down, or I climbed down the ladder, and then I walked down the hallway, and there were all these lights. So it was like it just kind of felt like a bunker, like a secret bunker. And then like a door, like the kind of average white door you find at Home Depot. And then I opened the door, and this big, super bright laboratory, like literally a laboratory inside. There was a pile of Robux off to the side, and so there was no one there. I looked around. There was no cameras, nothing. So I just grabbed a couple Robux, stuffed them in my pocket, and left. And then I hopped back over the fence, and then I left. And then I brought Gerald back home, and yeah. So, not really interesting, but it's a story. Back for another one, are you? Okay. Well, here's my other story. So, there was this. So, back when I was a kid, still living in that apartment with the weird, crazy neighbors, I decided to, just ride my bike one day. So, I went outside, grabbed my bike. It was red, silver, all these really boring bike colors that you see on every teenager's bike. And so I rode my bike down the street. I was like 11 years old, and I came across like this random cone in the middle of the road, just a cone. It was just there for some reason. And I was like, yeah, whatever. I'll just go past it. So I kept biking past the cone, and I was like, some kid must have bought a toy cone and put it there or something. So I kept on riding past, and it was just normal, like the rest of the neighborhood, all the houses, everything. It was like, okay, cone, cool. I should have stole it. I really like traffic cones. I have an obsession with them. If you go see my bedroom, I literally have so many traffic cones. It's like not even funny. But I kept on writing, like, just going down the street, further and further, all the way down. It's like a really long neighborhood. And when I got to the end of the road, there were more cones. So I just stopped and I was like, okay, now it's my time to turn back because it's the end of the road now. So I turned back and then I started going back home. And then where I originally saw the cone, there were like 10 cones. There were like a lot of cones just for no reason. So I was like, this is so stupid. Whoever's doing this is just useless. So I grabbed the cone, put it on my head, thinking I was silly, and I rode back home. And then, yeah. Once I got back into the house, the entire house was filled with cones, traffic cones. And I literally said, what the F? Like, I literally said the full out F word. And so I continued, went up to my room, dodging all the traffic cones, really confused. Like, you could imagine my face. You know, like, the living room just has traffic cones around it. And so I went upstairs, dodging the traffic cones, and into my bedroom. My bedroom had a really big traffic cone on my, not really big, but like bigger than the other traffic cones on my bed. And I took the traffic cone off my head and put it on the bed. And then I went to my parents' room to ask what was happening. And then when I walked into my parents' room, I saw my dad with a bunch of boxes. I asked him what he was doing, and he opened the box. There were traffic cones in it. I asked him, did he do this? And he said, yeah, I was putting all these traffic cones around just to make sure that the neighborhood was safe. Because there was a hurricane that was supposed to be coming in a week, or something like that. But there was supposed to be a hurricane or like a tornado or something, and my dad was setting out cones to warn people. Like, dude, you're literally blocking up the road. No one's going to be able to evacuate. Anyways, that's that story. Hey, you want to listen to another story? Okay. Hold on, let me think of one. Yeah, okay. I remember. So, literally 2 days ago, I went shopping. Like, regular shopping. You know, I've told you that I don't go shopping often. But I went shopping 2 days ago. And I went to Walmart. Because Walmart has kind of everything. And so I went to the toilet section because my Walmart has an entire section dedicated to toilets for some reason. And I walked in there, there were all toilets just up for display behind glass cases because they're like really cool looking. I don't know. I guess toilets look cooler behind glass, maybe more expensive. I don't know. It's Walmart. And so I saw a black toilet with like gold, like where the flush thingy that was golden colored. It was like a black and gold toilet. I looked at the price tag, $10,199. I am not kidding you. $10,199.98. I literally took a picture of it on my phone. It was insane. But I don't have my phone on me because I'm running the shop. But, yeah. I asked one of the employees around, like, is that an actual thing you guys are selling? A $10,200 toilet? The guy was like, yeah. Why would we not sell a $10,200 toilet? I said, that's not typical of Walmart. Walmart doesn't sell toilets, and they don't sell $10,200 toilets that are black and gold. I asked him what he was made, I asked him what the toilets were made of. He said they were made out of instead of saran or whatever material toilets are made of. He said it was made with fine titanium and painted with a nice fresh black coat of paint, and then sprayed on something so it's cleanable. And then the flush valve thing was actual gold. It was behind the same glass case as every other really cheap toilet. I asked him, why is that there? Why are you guys selling a $10,200 toilet? Who's gonna buy that? He said, oh, Elon Musk comes shopping here sometimes. I said, no, that's not true. That's not true. Elon Musk does not shop here. And so he said, are you want to see proof? And so I was like, sure, whatever. And I walked to the back area with him to the security room, and he pulled up all the security footage, and there was one from 2 weeks ago of Elon Musk going into that toilet section and buying the most expensive toilet paper roll that was there. So, yeah, that's an interesting thing. Went to Walmart, that Elon Musk shops at, $10,200 toilet. Yeah, I'm guessing that toilet is specifically for Elon Musk. I don't know. Ah, here for another story, eh? I bet. Okay. So I was a teenager, and there in my friend's neighborhood, there was this really tall, really big tree. It had all these branches sticking out everywhere. And hold on. It was basically a jungle gym course. And everybody would climb it. Everybody in his neighborhood would climb the tree. Hold on. And it was you were so cool if you got to the top and whatnot. So I decided I'd climb it. I got my parents' permission so that I could ride my bike to his neighborhood. And I would climb and then I decided I would climb the tree. So I climbed the tree occasionally, just when I was hanging out with him, we'd just climb the tree just for fun. But this time I actually was I was into it. I was ready to climb the tree. So I started climbing from the very bottom, and I climbed up. There are all these branches and really big parts sticking out, so I climb onto those, and I'm basically standing on all the branches because they're so big. And I climb up and up and up, and I'm going up, and then I look down, and it's pretty high up. If I fall, I'm cooked. So I keep climbing up and up and up, and I don't look down, and I'm just climbing and climbing, and it's just branch after branch. It's really easy too, because there's so many branches, and it's they're all straight, so it's easy to just get up and down. It's basically a ladder. Ladder with really separated steps, I guess. And I eventually made it to the top, and I was that's not hard at all. But how do I get down? And I didn't really feel like getting down, because I already used all my energy to get to the top of the really tall tree. And I was at the very top where it was all stemming out, so I was basically sitting in the tree. I was just sitting there. And so, you know what I did? You know what I did? Take a guess. Guess what I did. Guess what I did to get down. Okay, I brought my parachute with me. I planned to get down by parachuting. The tree is tall, but it's not tall enough for a parachute. I'm like, yeah, this looks high enough. I'll do it. So I jump, and I release my parachute super early, just to make sure that if I was low enough, which I certainly was, and I come down really fast, and then I make a soft landing into a branch, or not a branch, a bush, like this big bush. By soft landing, I mean worse than hitting the hard floor. So, yeah, I surprisingly didn't end up injured, but I climbed the tree, jumped down with a parachute, hit a branch, and I left with only like a couple scratches. And then I came home and I was like, "What's up, guys? How's the day? How is today? How's the weather out there? Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it?" I was like, just pretending like that didn't happen. My parachute like all caught up with leaves in it. It's like torn up. And I'm just there with like scratches on my legs and my arms. And it's like, "What's up? Gonna go to my bedroom now. Gonna play video games." Yeah, that's that story about how I climbed a tree and parachuted off of it. Yeah. Ah, yes, another story. So, a couple years ago, like 12 years ago, I went to the KC Cheese Factory a couple months before it got shut down, before that incident happened. So, I went there, because I really love eating the cheese, like all the KC cheese bricks. I just love the spice of them. So, I was there to eat some cheese, as usual, like I do. It's like basically something I do every month. So I went there and I got the good old classic KC cheese soup, which is like probably my favorite menu item. So I ordered 10 of those because I'm fat. So I ate all 10 of those KC cheese soups, and I threw all the bowls on the ground, and I was like, "Oh yeah, so full." And I walked out the store with like a big belly and a big back. So, I got in my car, drove back home, and I was happy. I was like, "Yeah, I got my good old KC cheese soup. I'm happy." I drank all the KC cola, and yeah, all that stuff. And I decided to go to a different one, like an hour away. So that one still in business today. I decided to get the same thing because I was like, what's the difference between these two? So I ate the cheese there. I ate the cheese soup there. It was really good. No, not as good as the one that I normally have, but it was pretty good. And I went to another one about 4 hours away from home. And then another one, and another one, and another one. All the way until I made it. I literally made it all the way to Nevada. Rented about 21 hotels in the process. Ate so much cheese. I came back home 1 week later, and I was just sitting there with a really, really upset stomach. Like, what do I do? And eventually, I just said, "You know what? Maybe the KC Cheese Factory near where I live has something to help." So I went there, and guess what I got? I got the KC Cheese Soup. And I ate it. It was really good, as usual. But this time, I was like, maybe I should get something else. Maybe that's not good for me. So I got the KC cheese fries. Those were disgusting. they just tasted really soggy, and they just tasted like nacho cheese and soggy McDonald's french fries mixed together. They weren't really good at all. So, drove back home, dissatisfied, and I, I just had a really bad stomach ache, and then I slept for 3 days straight. I literally slept for 3 days because I had ate so much, and since it's soup, it's watery, so I was hydrated for 3 days. So I woke back up those 3 days later, and guess what I did? I went to KC Cheese Factory and got the KC Cheese soup bowl. And not a good idea that was, because I went back home and I was sitting on the toilet for literally 7 hours. Like, I counted 7 hours. I had to open all the windows in the house. I had to open the door, open the vent, everything. Yeah. It's a pretty terrible story. I hope no one gets to experience what I did. It's pretty terrible. You sure do love listening to my stories, eh? So, trying to think. You've said like almost every story now. But there was this one time, sitting at home, like usual, just being a fat couch potato, and I was watching TV like I usually do because I'm a fat couch potato, and I switched to this one channel. I was like, what other channels are on? And there was this one channel. It had an ad playing for a haunted house, and it just looked like a VHS video. So I was like, huh, that's pretty scary. I'm gonna go check it out. So I went to the haunted house, and when I was there, I noticed that the haunted house was literally Obama's first trap house. So, like the first house that he kidnapped people in. So, like when I was young, I was literally one of the killers there, I guess. So I was like, oh no, what if they know me? So I walked up, like shaking, holding my ID. I was like, I want to go in and see what this place looks like. I walked around. It was the exact same. Since the place had never burned down or anything like Obama's other houses, it was just a house. It was a haunted house. So I decided to just I decided to go for an escape room because they had like one house was a haunted house, the other half of the house was an escape room, and I did the escape room because I thought that would be fun to do. Like instead of being a fat couch potato sitting at home watching TV. So I decided to do that, and it was really easy. Like it's obviously for kids and stuff, but like it was pretty easy, not really that scary. But it just had a nostalgic to it. Like since I was young, like 20s, and I was there, it just kind of hit different. It just was a different feeling. And I went home thinking, wow, that's crazy. I literally went to the place where I destroyed cameras. Actually, hold up. Now that I think about it, I think they had the original cameras still installed for the security guard to watch. Wow, it's kind of crazy. Yeah, that's that story. Okay, so I went for a stroll down the neighborhood, and I went to the city. Like I walked down to the city, wasn't really that far. It was like a mile. And when I was there, I decided to just go along the sidewalk and just see where I could go, like explore parts of the town that I haven't been to. So there was this one area, it was kind of sketchy, but there was a cool looking donut shop. It caught my eye, but in the alley next to it, I looked down the alley, like with all the dumpsters and all the trash cans and things, and there was a cat. There was a cat, an orange cat. It looked really stupid, and it had like a water thing, so clearly it must have been like the neighborhood cat or something. And the cat drinking water out of the water, like the water dispenser thing, like really stupid. It was like standing on the edge of it, like so it wouldn't fall in, and it was drinking out of the corner. It just looked like really scared to fall into the water. It was like more terrified to touch any particle of water. And so I walked up to the cat, I was like, hi, hey. And the cat was sitting there, rolled over to its back or to its side, like how all cats do. And I was like, okay, what do I do? Do I scratch your belly or what? And then I just walked away from the cat. And then I went back home. I walked all the way home with a donut from that donut shop, of course. Actually, not one donut, but literally 2 boxes of dozens. So I had 24 donuts. And yeah, ran all the way home with those boxes of donuts, basically drooling because I was running with them and holding them. And I was like, I really want to eat these donuts. Yeah, it's a pretty lame story, but figured that would be interesting to someone. This one's not much of a story, but it's more like a dream that I had last night. This was last night. So, in the dream, it was, it was, so I was at Obama's first house, and, like, that house is burned down already. Like, we all know that. That house is burned down. So, I, like, in the dream, I was in that house, but I was living there, and my dog was there. So, it's a very strange dream. Like in the dream, I went to make a cup of coffee in like one of the kitchens, and there was a stack of cash on the counter. Like there was a stack of cash. I picked it up, and then I was sent into a white void. And Obama was standing behind a table, and I was sitting in a chair. Like I was in a white void. Obama was on the other side of the table, sitting in a chair, and I was on the side of the table, sitting in a chair. And Obama said, wow, you found my money, thank you. And he took the money that was in my hand. And then in the dream, I somehow went back to Obama's second house. And then, and there, I was in the office, and there was, there were all the pit bottles, but they were dancing on the table, like they were just jumping around, and I tried to grab them, but they all jumped off, and then after that, in the, like, in the dream, it faded into a hotel in Los Angeles or something, and like I was in a hotel. There were 2 doors. One door had a bathroom, and the other door was like a basement, even though it was a hotel room. I don't know, it was so weird. And in the dream, I Dirt was there, and Dirt and Obama were there, and then there was like a box of a pit balls behind me. Like Dirt and Obama were in the same door, like they were just standing there. So I took one of the pit bottles, opened it, took a sip because I love me some pit, and threw the bottle at them, and they ran away. And then that was the end of the dream. I woke up sweating. It was so weird. Like, I don't know if you could have anything to say about that, but it was a weird dream. I don't know if it has some kind of meaning. I remember this one time where I sat on a chair, but my friend glued it, and so I got stuck. And so as soon as I sat back up, all my feathers got plucked out, because, I'm a duck. And, I was really mad, so that's why I got mad, and then I took a golf club because I found a golf club, and I hit somebody in the back of the head with it. But that was like I was like 6 years old. So that's the story. But wait, that's not all. A couple years later, I was at a restaurant. I was at it was like a cheese factory, and I was really hungry because I really wanted cheese, and so I sat down on a cheese chair. Like it was hot outside, so my black pants, because I had black pants on, so they were really hot. So I sat in the cheese chair. The cheese melted, and I got stuck to that too. And I had to call the ambulance and take me to the hospital because I was slowly turning into cheese because of a cheese virus. Remember when that happened? No? Oh yeah, that's right, because it's the year 2300, and that happened in the year 2100. Forgot about that. Anyways, that's the chair stories that I remember, so see you later, man. That one's a good one. So I remember this one time I went to the grocery store because obviously I needed groceries. Because, look where I live. I live in a cabin, so it's like I get groceries like once a month. So basically, anyways, I went to the store, the local grocery store, Myers or whatever you have. But basically, I was in the glass section, like where the cups, wine glasses and shot glasses and crap like that. So basically, I was there, and so I had to, get cups because I kept on eating all my cups because that cheese disease that I had. Shut up. Anyways, so basically, I took all the glass. I ate it in the store, and then I got kicked out. So I drove to the convenience store because I needed ramen noodles, and I just wanted ramen noodles. And when I got home, I cooked the ramen noodles, but instead of ramen noodles, they were worms. You may be thinking, well, that's disgusting. Well, actually, no. Look at me. I'm a bird. I'm a bird, so I eat worms. So honestly, I was really happy. But later, I soon realized that it was the chicken flavor instead of the beef flavor. So I had to get a refund. But obviously, I ate them already. So I just went to the convenience store and threw them on the counter. Well, that's the story. I hope you're disgusted now. Yes. So, there was this one time, back in the year 2156. I was 12 years old. I, I was so we went to this cool mountain, this beautiful sight and all.
Excuse me. I've got Sour Patch Kids. They're good. Anyways, so we're on this mountain, and I was taking. We were there, you know. Excuse me. Anyways, so it was like a beautiful sight. So like my parents, they took out their cellular phones and they were holding them like long ways, like you know how you hold a hot dog. So basically, they were like, I was looking at them, I was like, what are you doing? And so they were like, we're taking pictures, and I'm like, oh, so you can do that on a cellular communication telephone? They were like, yeah. And so that changed my life forever, because I was like, how did these pictures of my family get in these frames? And now, like, I didn't know cameras existed, because, you know, I was 12 years old, so I was an idiot. And then basically, like, after that, I discovered that we had a camera in the closet, and so I took pictures of every single thing. But then we ran out of storage on the camera, so I got really mad and I ate the camera. So that's where my moral fear of cameras came from, was because a mountain and long-distance communication battery-operated devices. It's kind of crazy. That's why I get really mad at cameras. Yeah. That's kind of all I have to say. It's not even that good of a story, but I hope you're entertained somehow. Yeah. So, I was young, very young, and basically we lived, you know, in the city, so we were like living next to everybody and stuff like that. We actually lived in an apartment, and it was really cool because it was like I could literally walk like 4 feet and I'd be at my neighbor's house already. And so like, since we were right next to each other, like, since, you know, it's an apartment, we were, you know, I'm the kid that plays indoors and not outdoors because I don't touch grass, but basically, I had a ball, I had a softball, you know, basically really big baseballs that are really hard. So I had one of those, and you know, I'm a softball player. You know me, I'm the greatest softball player on the team. And so basically, we were like, you know, so I hit the softball and it hit the TV, and the TV exploded. Like, I'm not exaggerating, it literally exploded as if a bomb was in it. We later discovered that there actually was a bomb inside of it, and we thought that was kind of funny. But you may be asking, how does this have to do with the neighbors? Well, actually, the neighbors were war criminals, and they were known for putting bombs inside of people's personal things. So basically, we had to go back at them. So we knocked on their door, they opened up the door, and the guy, you know, he had a killer mustache and like a really cool looking beard. And shut up. So basically, we saw dots of dynamite in his hair. Like, you know, like when people say there's rats in your hair, instead of rats, it was explosives. And grenades on his shoulders, so it looked like his shoulders were made of grenades. And basically, what my parents did was they walked into his house, stole his TV, folded it in half like a sandwich, and then threw it at him. Turns out that had explosives in it, so he blew up and died. That's the story. I hope you're satisfied now. Yeah. This one's a cool story, but it also kind of sounds like a riddle. So I'm just going to tell it to you, but make it sound like a riddle. So basically, so I'm in the living room. A pillow is in the living room. You know, wait, yeah. Yeah, so if I'm in the living room and the pillow's in the living room, it's the ceiling fan in the living room. Well, yeah, obviously. Well, actually, no, because the ceiling fan is in the bedroom. No, shut up. You're not part of this. Anyways. It's not like the fish thing. So anyways, so we leave. So the ceiling fan was actually in the bedroom, or it used to be in the living room, but we moved it to the bedroom. Like, I was home alone for like 20 minutes. So I hired a technician, and I dressed up in like 3 high heels, so I was like 4 feet taller, to look old, and then I dressed up in like a suit to hide my shortness, because look at me, I'm a duck, I'm short. So basically, I was in that like suit to make me look tall like an adult, and I hired a technician to take off the ceiling fan from the living room and move it to the bedroom. It was so funny, because when my parents got back, they were like, "What the heck? Why is it so hot in the living room?" And I was like, I sneezed a little bit, and I rearranged some things with the sneeze wind. And so they went into the bedroom and saw the ceiling fan there. They were like, "Ah!" Because, you know, it's really weird seeing the ceiling fan teleport. So, that's my story.
Welcome, friend. Wait, what is that? Is that a pit? The thing that I've been looking for 45 years? Oh my gosh, this is amazing. You're a good friend. I need to give you something in return, so you know what? I don't really have anything, really, but, like, I could just, like, you know, crash the game or whatever, but why would I do that? Wait, you beat the game? Wow, that's impressive. Wait, you want to know my backstory? Huh? What, are you trying to dox me or something? Okay, fine, I'll tell you the backstory. So basically, where do I even start? So yeah, like that camera story that I was telling you about, that's a pretty big piece of lore right there. Also, so basically, there was that one house, like that cabin. I think you were there, weren't you? Yeah, because I was like still a young duck. Yeah. And so basically I was just a meathead, and then I just kind of hated people. But then, like, there was that second house that had like 20 people, and I just like kind of, you know, was like, ugh, I'm getting bored of this. And so I kind of told more stories during that time. So I was kind of more talkative rather than camera destroying. And now I'm like really old, so I stopped doing all that, and now I'm just here just telling stories. See, isn't this such a wholesome story? But that's not it. That's not all the lore. There's a little bit more lore to uncover, but basically, like, I'll just summarize it. But like, it's just me being a mean guy because I don't like cameras and they're scary. And yeah. But the reason why I like telling stories and talking a lot is because, like, a pit is it's just something that I've always wanted to drink. So if you could get me a bottle of a pit, that would be super cool. And I could probably give you some secret endings, maybe. Ooh, fourth wall break. Anyways, give me some pit, please. I love the pit. I don't think I've actually had. I think the last time I've had one was when I was like 6 years old. Yeah. Get me some pit bottles, any kind. And yeah, that would be cool. Yeah. You know, Yo Cat, right? You know, that black cat that always looks at you and says, yo, yo, yo. Yeah, that cat. So, I was hanging out with him the other day, and you know, just hanging out. I mean, I couldn't eat anything because all he had was cat food, so I was there and I was starving. But he ordered McDonald's, so yeah. Yeah, of course, I'm fat, so yeah, that's. Anywho, so we were having a sleepover because he wanted to invite me, and we were just gonna hang out. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I got some fun things that I want to do." So I was like, "Oh sure." And so we were just hanging out, you know, watching TV, watching hockey, and all that stuff. And I go into the bedroom because that's where I had my own bedroom for the night. So he's like, "Here's your bedroom. It's just a small bed, like a cheap bed on like an IKEA mattress on an IKEA. Like I don't even think it was. I don't even think it was. I think it was like a sideways bookshelf laid on the ground as his bed frame. But anyways, that was my bed for the night. So I got in the bed and it was pretty comfy. Not gonna lie, and just wanted to feel it. I swear that mattress is not new. That mattress has been through both world wars. I lifted like when he exited the room, I took off the covers, the sheet, and literally the mattress was brown. I'm not exaggerating. The top of the mattress was brown. So I took a picture of it, sent it to um uh I sent it to my parents because I'm like, who is this fool? This kid really want me to sleep on this mattress? Nuh-uh. Pick me up. And I didn't tell Yoka, of course, so I was just went back in the living room. I'm like, oh, I'm hungry still, because, you know, look at me, I'm fat. Anyways, so he ordered yet again, he ordered something, but instead of McDonald's, he ordered, believe it or not, he ordered Burger King. Wow. This cat. This cat is cheap. He didn't order like Olive Garden or Little Caesars. No, Burger King. It wasn't even like, it was just a regular old Whopper and small fry. Like, what a scam. I'm probably not gonna go with a sleepover with that cat again. I'm probably gonna have a sleepover with Monty, if he even has a house. Where does Monty even live? Anywho, so, um, when it was late at night, I was like, alright, good night, bro, sleep in your kennel. And I went into the bedroom, and I laid on the bed, and I noticed, out of the corner of my eye, a small, like, hatch door on the ceiling. So, I get up, standing on the bed, and I pull down the hatch, and a ladder, like, falls down, and dust, like, a whole bunch of dust fell on me. So, I was like, let's go up it. So I climbed the ladder. And inside there was a chest. Just a small room with a dim bulb and a chest. I opened the chest, and inside the chest was, believe it or not, a book. Like a planner book. I opened the book. It was empty. I flipped through pages, and eventually I find nothing. I just thought it was a weird occurrence. I didn't see anything in the book, just it was a book. So that's kind of my story of me having a sleepover with the cat. About the weirdest sleepover I've ever had. But yeah, I wonder what he's gonna do with that book. Another story, eh? Alright. So, last year, I did an April Fool's joke, and I don't think it was the best idea. But hey, let me tell you about it. So, the April Fool's joke consisted of this water bottle. Yep, this is the same water bottle from last year. I haven't washed it since. I probably should. And also, these coins. So what I did was, I opened the water bottle, I took the coins, put them in the bottle, and filled up the bottle with water all the way. And then, or not water, I meant soda. I filled it up all the way with soda, and it's, it's pennies, so it's pennies, so you can't see them. They're blended with the brown of the soda. So I closed the water bottle. Of course, I don't have anything in this. It's just a demonstration. And I gave it to my friend. I said, "Here we go. You want a drink?" And he said, "Yeah, sure." So he opened the bottle, drank it, the entire thing. He's like, Dr. Pepper. I forgot he's the biggest Dr. Pepper fan of all time. Gave me back the bottle. I looked in with a smile, and there was nothing in the bottle. Not in the penny, meaning he swallowed it. A couple days later, he texted me. He's like, "Yo, bro, I'm at the hospital." And I'm like, "What? How did he get to the hospital?" And then I remembered, oh yeah, I put a penny in his drink. I didn't realize he was gonna swallow it. I thought he'd be like, "Ew, tastes like metal. Well, since when did Dr. Pepper change your formula?" So, yeah. I eventually went to the hospital to check on him, and he said he was doing fine, but apparently the coin wasn't even a real coin. Turns out the coin that I had was actually an explosive, because my friend lives in that apartment complex where that crazy neighbor is. If you remember the crazy neighbor that put explosives in everything, yeah. That coin that I found on the ground happened to be one of his test experiments that he just happened to have on the ground. And after later investigating from the police, it was a landmine. So I have no idea how it didn't go off when I picked it up and dropped it in the container, the bottle. So yeah, that was my April Fool's prank gone wrong. Okay, here's a classic story. So, about 12 years ago, when I moved here to my cabin from Alabama, it was quite treacherous, because I had to, it doesn't seem like that long of a drive, but considering Alabama folk, yeah, it was dangerous, basically. So, how did it go? Well, at the start of my drive, it was like 10 minutes in, decided to get breakfast because it was like 5 in the morning. So, I went to a gas station and got a chicken biscuit, just like whatever. But I took a bite, turns out it was ice cream. That's right, chicken biscuit flavored ice cream. It was disgusting, so I had to throw it out. Couldn't get a refund. It's a gas station in the middle of Alabama. No one's gonna want it back. So, about 2 hours into the drive, I stopped at a hotel just to get some coffee because free hotel coffee, can't go wrong with it. So got the coffee, drank the coffee. You know what it was? Because I was spitting it out all over the place. Guess what? It was dirt water, not coffee. It was just steaming hot dirt water. So I drank it. I'm like, that's all over the ground at the hotel lobby, everywhere. Luckily, there was no staff member at the desk, so I just left and just acted like I wasn't there. Nothing happened. Steaming the hot dirt water just got on the ground all on its own. Yeah. So I drove away, and I got to a rest stop in between Alabama and Georgia. So I got to the rest stop, went in there, and I was like, hopefully something bad doesn't happen here. And would you believe it? All the stalls were taken up. So I decided to get this red hat because there was a souvenir shop. I got the red hat, put it on, and then walked like a woman, went into the woman's restroom, and used the restroom there. Nobody knew, surprisingly. And then I left. And then approximately an hour later, the cops pulled up. I was like, what now? I mean, I've gotten pulled over before. You probably know. So, anyways, they were like, hey, we saw some reports of a dog that looked like you in the woman's bathroom. And I was like, must be a look-alike. And the police were like, oh, okay. So they left. So, W police. He's just like, oh, okay. We just didn't need any further evidence. And then I eventually moved in, and everything was all good. So yeah, that's my story. Did you know that I was arrested at just 14 years old? Yeah, this one's a kind of crazy story. But basically, hold on, let me try to remember. Yeah, okay. I remember. This one was a long time ago, so it's difficult to remember. But basically, I called a random number, bored one day, and the person that picked up on the phone, they were like, hello, this is Walmart. Would you like to pick up or make a delivery or something? So I said, does your place have walls? The guy on the phone said, yeah, we're Walmart. We're known for our walls. And then I was like, okay, does your place have a ceiling? The guy on the phone was like, yeah, we have walls, so of course there's a ceiling. And then I asked, oh, okay, so does your place have a floor? They said, yeah, of course it has a floor. Are you stupid? Why do you keep on asking us these questions? And then after that, I asked, does your place have any, cooking stuff? Like pots, pans? The guy was like, yeah, of course we do. We're a retail store. And so I asked, does your place have a refrigerator anywhere? The guy was like, yeah, we have one in the back, but we don't sell any. And then I asked, does it work? The guy was like, yeah, why? And then I said, oh, typical Walmart. The refrigerator has a job there. You should fire him. He shouldn't be working there. Ha ha ha. And I did a sarcastic troll laugh. The guy on the phone was like, okay, dude, that's it. I'm done. And so he hung up the phone like this hard. Here's a hand sanitizer, for instance, to show you how loud it was. It was like that, really loud. So I was like, so funny. And then, yeah. Later that day, the cops pulled up to the front yard. So my parents got out there. This is back when I was living in that apartment with the crazy neighbor with the explosives. The cops were there. They're like, "Great, this apartment again, or this apartment complex again. What is it now? Are you sure you guys are not the explosive guy?" I mean, they technically don't have a reason to arrest him because the cops in that area were total trash. They didn't know, like, how to read Miranda rights or anything. But anyway, my parents are like, or no. The Walmart guy was there. He's like, "That kid," because I talked. I was like, "Hey, how are you?" And it had the voice, the same voice I was on the phone. The Walmart guy was like, "That kid, right there, the duck." So the cop was like, "Come here, kid." So I walked over to him anxiously, hands behind my back, like puppy eyes looking. And the guy said, "Get in the car." And so I got in the car, of course, and he drove me to the police station. And instead of like actually arresting me, they just put me on cuffs and said, now, you don't make prank calls, little ducky." And I was like, "Okay." The cop drove me back home, and I was processingly, I was grounded for approx a month and a week and a day. So that was me getting arrested at the age of just merely 14 years old, right at the brinks of high school. Man, was I a stupid kid. And I'm still kind of stupid. Anywho, yeah, that's the story. I'm done. Yo, bro, have you seen the Minecraft movie yet? Oh, you have? Awesome. Because, so I went to the Minecraft movie, right? So the theater, it's in Cartersville, so Bartow County. So like all the kids were in school, and since it was on Friday, all the kids were in school still. So we were at the theater, AMC theaters. The place literally looked abandoned because all the kids were in school, so like no one was there except for like one car. We pulled up to the theater, and it was locked. It was like locked. We were like, "Is this place abandoned? I sure hope this place isn't actually abandoned." And they scanned me, and turned out I was just there early. So I called the place. They're like, "We should open in like 10 minutes." And would you believe it? I waited there for 10 minutes and the place opened. Heck, even a pigeon came in. Movie's so exciting that the pigeon came in. So we got I got popcorn and I got candy. I had to get like 8 buckets of popcorn, and I also snuck in my favorite food. That's right, you guessed it, the KC cheese spicy cheese soup bowl. Of course I had to get it. Of course. You wanna know how I snuck it in? I put it in a McDonald's cup, and I put it all in a McDonald's cup. And by the time I got to my seat, it was already like melting through the cup because of how much preservatives are in the cheese. Like it's basically cyanide because of it. So yeah, I got in my seat, you know, sat down, put my 2 cups and my 3 buckets of popcorn and my candy. And the movie began, and would you believe it? There was no one in the theater. No, because no one's at school. And basically the main audience is kids, so yeah. And so basically I was there all on my own, and I was like, ha 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 ha, chicken jockey, and like fermented stew, and this is a crafting table, all on my own. The Nether. I am Steve. This guy's such a tool bag. All on my own. Like seriously, I had to watch the whole movie, and I didn't even get. At least I threw popcorn around. But there was no one else there. Literally just me. Yeah, either the movie's that bad, or it was just because the school schedule was that day. Either way, I would not go watch it myself unless you want a chicken jockey! Yeah, alright. So, when I went home, I crashed to sleep, and I woke up, and I thought everything looked blocky. That's because I watched that movie, that 2-hour-long movie of blocks, and Jack Black, and Jason Momoa. I just gone crazy. So yeah, I'm still recovering, unfortunately, so it's gonna take me a couple days to get back to normal. Otherwise, I'll keep Steve's la 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 for chicken. You know, all that. So yeah, that's the end of the story. Hopefully my vision returns back to normal. Otherwise, I can just go to the Nether all on my own. So now I'm going to tell you a story about what happened to me on my 18th birthday. So, on my 18th birthday, you know, parents like freak out. They're like, oh my gosh, yay, you're 18, move out. So, that didn't happen to me. Well then, what happened, you may be asking? Well, it's a little bit more than that. I got the cake, you know, and like the birthday cake, started eating it like, eating it super fast. And next thing I know, I feel like this weird, like, thing go down my throat. I was like, oh shoot, did I like swallow a candle, like stuck in the middle of a cake or something? My parents were like, huh? What do you mean? We took off all the candles. We didn't even put anything inside. Oh, wait. And then I was like, what? What happened? What'd you do? They were like, well, you know, cough. Cough it out. We have something to tell you. So I was trying to cough. I was like, you know, coughing all over the place. Like, probably releasing like 1,001 viruses. And parents are like, this doesn't seem to be working. Should we call the hospital or something? And I was like, what happened? What did I swallow? And my parents were like, well, we were going to kick you out, but that happened. I was like, what do you mean? So they called the hospital, and I eventually made it to like the emergency room, and you know all that. And they put me in the room, and they started like doing surgery and stuff, and they got like this like vacuum with like a really strong suction, and eventually they just stuck it up on my face, and like it just sucked out the object that was like stuck in my throat. And after later inspection, it turned out it was house keys. They bought me a house, and I swallowed the keys. And would guess what? We went out to have a birthday dinner of my choice, and guess where I went? The KC Cheese Factory. You know, the place with the over-preserved cheese that turns to acid when it melts. Yeah. I ate all the KC cheese soup bowls, and literally it dissolved half the key. It was molded into like a flat ball of metal, basically. After being in my stomach with all the cheese acids and preservatives, and I didn't have a house anymore. The house could not be entered. So the FBI had to be called to batter and ram their way into the house, and I finally moved into that house, and I didn't have a key. Yeah, it was super fun. And then I got locked out of the house because I closed the door. Like all these times, I never closed the door fully. I just cracked it. But the wind was strong, so like the air pressure inside versus outside was different, and the wind was picked up, and there was rain and stuff. So the door like closed on its own because of the pressure change. And when I came back home, I couldn't get in. So I had to call the cops and the FBI to open my door. Literally. It couldn't have been any worse. And then 2 years after I've been living there, I finally got a key. And it wasn't even a legit key. It was just my friend who 3D printed a key. And so guess what? The key broke in the lock after about half a year or half a month of use. That's right, half a month. The key broke and got stuck in the lock because it was like cheap plastic filament. And so, guess what? I had to call the police and the FBI to batter and ram the door open. So, I got back to my house. They replaced the whole door because the lock couldn't be taken apart because the key was in it. So they had to take apart the whole door, basically. And I had to buy a new one because the county is cheap. So, I had to buy my own door, install the door myself, and guess what? That didn't come with a door handle. I had to buy a new door handle, and the one that I bought didn't come with a key. For some reason. Probably because it's Walmart. That's why it's Walmart. All these years. That explains it. Gee. Okay. So, I returned that door, or the door handle, and I bought a new one. This time, I actually ordered it from Amazon. And it was like one of those like fingerprint scanner ones. You don't have a key, you just use your fingerprint and your like DNA credentials and stuff. So I managed to get that. And I was able to get in and out of my house, lock it securely and all that. Turns out that lock needs to be recharged. And if you're outside and it's locked, you can't charge it. So, guess what? The lock died. And I was at the store. So, I had to call, guess who? The police and the FBI to batter and ram the door open. Literally so infuriating. This was all in the span of about 3 years. This was all like 3 years. And so basically, after that, I just gave up and said, screw it, no door. Instead, I just installed a sliding door. Or like a bathroom, those like bathroom stalls where you slide the latch. I bought one of those. And I put that as my front door. And I had to mad hack it to put like cardboard on the top and bottom so it was like a functional door. And so there we go. I now have a door that I can lock. Only problem is, it's locked on the inside. So, yeah. After I installed it, I took a look on the outside, and it was locked because of my friend on the inside. He thought it was funny because the outside was locked. So, he locked it, and I was locked out. And then I was like, wait, this is stupid, because you can't even open the lock from the outside. You can't lock it from the outside or unlock it. So I had to call my friend, but they were like, nope, not letting you in. So I had to call, guess who? The police and the FBI to battle ram my door open. So after that, you actually wouldn't believe how strong bathroom doors are. So I had to replace that, and I just said, you know what? I'm completely done. I'm sick and tired of all this. And I went 2 months without a door. That's when I woke up at 3 a.m. with a bear in my bedroom. So I said, I'm done. I can't deal with this anymore. So, guess what? I bought a glass door, like those ones that you can just get anywhere. And like the ones that you get at the front door. They can't be locked or unlocked. It's just you open it by pressing and pulling it. I got that, installed it, and I covered the whole thing with tape so you couldn't see through it. And here's what I did to make the lock work. I just didn't install a lock. It was just the door with tape covered on it. And then later, I decided to install boards all over my windows and make my house look abandoned. So, nobody would go in it. Guess what? Approximately a month and like a week after that, a guy went into my house thinking it was actually an abandoned house, and he did an entire YouTube video on it, but he found me sleeping in the bedroom. Would you believe it? I had to replace the door, or I had to get rid of the door, and guess what? I was doorless for about a week because I had Amazon deliver a standard door, no lock, like the door you find in your closet. No lock, it's just a door that opens and closes, and it's attached on hinges. That's it. There were no windows, no people, no security. It was just an outs door on the inside, no insulation. So I was pretty cold in the winter and hot on the summers. But hey, it didn't matter. I had finally gotten a door after about 4 years of living here. 4 years of swapping doors over and over and over again, making new ones, doing all these designs, thinking, and having to deal with the FBI and the police opening up the doors. They're so cheap because they couldn't help me. And eventually, at the very end, when I had installed the door, I had gotten an advertisement flyer attached to my door with a push pin, because it's wood. They push pinned a poster flyer into my door saying that I could get a new door. My anger was through the roof. It came with a key, a lock, a deadlock bolt thingy, and everything. And I've already spent $2,000 on doors in 4 years. So, after that, I replaced the door, got the legit door, and finally, I had peace and quiet for 4 years. By then, I was 22. I was already living on my own. My parents had moved out too, and they've already been divorced, so they moved out on their own, gone their separate ways, and in that time span, I got like 8 doors. And then I finally decided to move out 2 months after installing that new door. So I spent about $3,000 on doors and locks for no reason if I was just gonna move out. And guess what? This was right before Obama's first like series of things. My anger through the roof. By far my most devious story. Like, I can't believe it. That's the story. Doors and doors and doors, thousands spent on doors in a cheap county in Alabama. Just gotta go let my steam free. I'll be back.